This is In Touch with Terri, a power-packed podcast for the medical aesthetics industry.
I just discovered your podcast, and I feel like I've hit a gold mine.
She's our inspiration.
This is someone who's got a lot of knowledge. She's been there, done that.
Terri Ross is a former Fortune 500 executive, international speaker, founder and CEO of Terri Ross Consulting, and co-founder of the 4S Summit, a sales and business mastery workshop for aesthetic professionals.
Terri is always approachable, always there for you.
It's nice to have somebody in your corner that can say, I got it.
In Touch with Terri will bring you solutions to increase operational and employee efficiency and practice profitability. Plus, features some of the top industry experts as guests.
Terri, your courses and your podcast are just so helpful.
She made me feel like I could do this.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Now, here's Terri.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of In Touch with Terri. And this is going to be one of my favorite, most passionate topics ever. And it is stop selling treatments. Stop selling treatments. This is about the proven consultation that builds better patient outcomes, loyalty, retention, lifetime value, money, and profit. Look, I swear to God, I've been traveling the world globally, teaching a formula, a proven formula that has changed the impact of people, of practices, of patients, and everyone is always asking about how do they increase revenue. You guys, I'm not going to lie. I'm just going to be very honest. Look, there's how many hours do you have available to sell? How many rooms do you have? How many providers do you have? That's it. I mean, that's it. So whatever happens in the room is critical. The consultation is the only time you have to bond, build rapport, ask questions, qualify, get to the patient's emotional needs. What do they want? And maximize that consultation so that you are moving from transactional to transformational. And that's it. There's no other magic wand. There's no fairy dust I can sprinkle around. There's no more equipment or new procedure or, semen sperm and salmon sperm and all this crazy shit. I'm not saying it's not valuable. I'm saying it is about mastering the consultation. You can be the absolute greatest provider on the planet. And I say this often in every one of my lectures. I'm not here to teach you how to play the game. I'm here to teach you how to win the game. So if you are new to In Touch with Terri, if this is your first episode or if you have been with me for years from the beginning, I love you, appreciate you, respect you, and I'm so glad that you are here and applaud you every time for taking time out of your day to learn and expand your knowledge. You know who I am. If you don't, I don't bullshit. We have real conversations, no fluff. We get down and dirty about the business of aesthetics and what it truly takes to run a profitable practice that is not just busy, one that is not just trendy, one that is sustainable and profitable. Because listen, long-term success in this industry, it's hard. We are in a very competitive environment. Patients have a lot of choices. They're spending less money, going to multiple places. So success does not happen by accident. It is purposeful. It requires skill, requires financial intelligence, leadership, discipline, and it takes courage to raise the standards. And candidly, that you guys have to make a decision that you're not going to settle for mediocrity or settle for being average. And most importantly, it takes accountability. We have to be able to look ourselves in the mirror, be honest every day and say, you know what, I either need help or I'm doing well, but could I be doing better? Because this isn't a place for big egos. Let's check that shit at the door. And let's say, you know what, there are experts for a reason. We all know, again, we hire an athlete, a coach, a trainer, you go to the right doctor because we need the right people who are going to get us the results and the outcome that we're looking for. So I want us to get ahead of it. And I want you to really think about this. So my last episode, we talked about 7 key numbers that every CEO must know. So if you did the homework I asked you to do, you know some of these numbers. Revenue per hour, conversions, super important. Why? Well, when people tell me, you know what, Terri, my team's busy, we do treatment plans, I'm like, do you? Let me see it. Well, there's nothing written down, or it's in the software. The client doesn't get anything. It was like, we talked about it. Well, they're not going to remember that. That is not the way a consultation goes. So if your revenue per hour is not hitting the benchmarks, one thing to consider perhaps is that we're just doing single treatment recommendations. That, you guys, is going to position yourself as a commodity. That is not an outcome-driven business. So when we don't use structured tools like the cosmetic interest questionnaire, a comprehensive treatment plan that looks beautiful, a skincare regimen, then we're not building a strategy. We're honestly talking to patients and we're like a quoting service, right? They have a problem. You want to give them the injectables and the Botox to do the fine lines and wrinkles, and there's a quote. Then it becomes about price because we're not, intentionally going into that consultation, getting really down to the patient's emotional needs. And that is the number one thing we can do. Even worse, if your providers are just settling for, not giving the patient everything. And I don't mean throwing up on them. You guys, if you've ever taken my training, go on YouTube, go on my Instagram, go on my website, go look at the case studies. There is a formula with a proven method that works. Because all we're going to do is give our patients a disservice. They're going to have inconsistent clinical results because we did not give them a roadmap. We didn't. We gave them, let's do this now and then come back in 3 months or 4 months and then this later. They don't want that. 89% of patients said they wanted to be educated on the pre-op plan. And 91% wanted the post-op plan. Less than 50% do it. So you see my passion. It comes through in my voice and where we've been spending our time training literally all over the world. So the 5 things you must pay attention to are your conversions are not at the benchmark, so low conversion rates. Your average ticket, your average spend per patient is low. Patients aren't happy. They're having poor outcomes. You are having a hard time handling objections. And your patient loyalty is low, and because they're not coming back. So a consultation without structure, it just doesn't cost you revenue. You guys are eroding your own authority. Now, I know that's not why you chose to get into aesthetics. So today's episode, I want to break down the consultation method I teach with proven results, why it works, and actual client results. So look, let's dive in. This is what I said. Transactional businesses, single treatment consults, they sound easy and simple and harmless, but they actually create big problems because they only position your services or procedures as commodities, okay, versus solution-oriented. So when a patient hears, oh, you can do, X units of Botox or 3 syringes, or it's based on the problem, but not the result necessarily, okay? And that result comes from probably most people are going to need multiple modalities to get to that outcome. So what is the result that they're looking for? And that comes from emotional ability to ask good questions in the beginning. And then there's no real explanation as to why these treatments matter. Okay, so what is it that the patient wants? What are they willing to do to get it? How does it make them feel? We're going to dive into some more questions. What comes next? Like, you're taking me on a journey, and that's built over time. And so we have to give context that the patient isn't like choosing a plan, but they're deciding. You are leading them to a decision that regardless of the price is going to get them the outcome and the results they want. And so if you think about, any medical procedure, it typically requires more than one thing. So these aesthetic treatments are built in steps. It's not a single appointment and then we hope they're going to come back and we're going to get them in and then we'll talk about it later. No. If I'm paying for a consultation, and you should be charging, the time is now to educate me in the beginning. As I mentioned, find out what I want, how badly it's bothering me, and how committed am I to wanting something different, and then I'm doing that. So when we think about, for example, right? Let's think about, lasers. Well, or a facelift. Like, what do we need to protect that investment? Is something going to lift the skin, correct the skin, maintain the skin? There's different things that are going to be required before that patient gets that one thing. So let's talk about the consequences. So I want you to identify, okay, this is me. Yes, our revenue per hour is low. Our conversions are low. The average spend is low. Maybe it is. I don't know. I want you guys to know the numbers and then say, oh, okay, well, shit. Now you have an opportunity to investigate why. So when you operate transactionally instead of strategically, that is what's going to happen. Patients are going to be hesitant because they're not going to see the value. So your conversion rates could be lower. Selling one syringe versus selling $3,000 to $5,000 is very different to the bottom line and the patient's outcome. You're going to have inconsistent clinical outcomes because we didn't give them the full plan. As I mentioned, they're not going to be as loyal. Your revenue is going to be unstable because, right, that's not the mindset and the culture of your entire practice. And honestly, it's just going to dilute the brand. And so when we think about the value of a comprehensive consultation, you just shift. It shifts the dynamic like exponentially. People are wowed by the consult. They're wowed by the time. They're wowed by you using structured tools like the cosmetic or concerns interest questionnaire, the treatment plan, the skincare regimen, how you're sequencing these modalities. Like truly, you guys, everything changes. And why? Well, the patients aren't like, well, I've went to 4 other places, or maybe they did. And then they're like, well, this experience is so different than where I've been going in the past. People don't want the cheapest thing. And you know what? If they do, God love you. And there's a place for those people to go. But if you want to build brand equity, know your avatar client, know who they are, and be very confident because patients are going to see a strategy, a vision. They're going to feel a long-term relationship. They're going to feel like, oh my God, I have this pathway and a plan versus, well, how much is the Botox? You can't just tell me how much the facelift is. I mean, you know what? Sure, I could do that, but I would be doing you a disservice. And so we have to start asking better questions. And why? Let me talk about what mastering the consultation is going to do for your business. It's going to increase your conversions exponentially. Patients are going to spend more money, so your average ticket's going to go up. Outcomes are better. Patients are happier. Lifetime value, revenue per hour, higher retention. You're elevated your authority. You can overcome price objections, lifetime value. Boom. I just dropped the mic on so many critical things that, by the way, are easy to do. I'm not asking you to work harder. I'm asking you to work smarter in the room, maximizing revenue from one person versus trying to hustle like a hamster in a cage running around for a lot less money. Patients are not buying, you guys, the units. They're not buying the boob jobs. They're not buying the halo. They're buying a transformation. The transformation requires a plan. Okay, it requires a plan. So let's talk about the blueprint. Okay, how does it work? And sales training, as I mentioned, you guys, I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. Traveling the world the beginning of this year. But here's the blueprint I want you to think about. Number one, you have to have a process. So I just did a talk at AMWC and we mapped out the patient journey. What is your patient journey process from the time the phone rings, a web lead, they walk in the door, the consult, the checkout, the follow-up? What is it? It's usually very fragmented. Okay, so what is your patient's journey? And then when you're in the consultation, do you have the proper tools? Okay, so I want you to make sure you have the proper tool. You are assessing. You understand the layer model. You are listening 80% of the time. You're talking less. And you are a diehard with your questioning skills, which goes right into open-ended, emotionally anchored questions. Okay, I've given this away. I don't know why I do. It's like my gold. It's the greatest thing anyone can do, but hard to embrace because people, they tell me all the time, I swear to God. I'm like, of these 11 questions, how many do you ask? They're like, they usually say 3. And they all say, I don't ask feelings questions. I don't ask feelings questions. So some could be, how long have you been feeling this way, Terri? What would improving this do for you personally? How would you feel if we could fix this and get you a treatment plan that could get you that outcome? And what's the reason that you decided to do it now? Which leads us right into asking open-ended, emotionally anchored questions. I cannot stress, if you take nothing away from this podcast, I want you to focus definitively on this section. And if you've never had professional training, this is not the easy part, because I give you the 11 questions to ask in my training and may feel uncomfortable because honestly, we've probably worked with over 2,000 practices. Many of them have grown multi-millions of dollars, sold their practices for upwards of 20 million. I mean, increased conversions by over 50%, EBITDA by 77%. I mean, our results are, I say that, I am going to say that we're diehard. People that work with us, they want results. But being able to take a step back, and like I said, you could be the greatest provider, but what we're missing is the layer model, but we're missing asking emotionally charged questions. And so, Terri, how long have you been feeling this way? How has it made you feel? How has it affected your life? If you could improve this, what would it do for you personally? Think about those questions. I mean, you are getting patients to tell you what they really want. It's not like I want new boobs. No, I want to go to Cabo in my bikini and feel like very confident with, right? In my bikini, feel confident. They're not saggy. They're not in my stomach. They're like all the things. I'm not buying Botox. I don't want to look wrinkly on Zoom and edit every photo. You guys, we have to really embrace this. And so if we don't uncover that, then you are just going to be selling procedures. If you do uncover it, you are solving a problem. People pay to solve problems. I'm going to say it again. If you do not learn to uncover the emotional need, you're selling procedures. If you do uncover their emotional needs, you've won. You can create the treatment plan. You're solving a problem. People pay to get their problems solved, period. Okay, now you have to educate, meaning you have to position yourself with authority. So now that you understand the emotional why behind what they need, now you are being, now you're educating with authority, not randomly, strategically. So now you can explain, okay, based on the outcome they're looking for, the treatment plan I recommend is, boom, you go in with no options. You go in with the plan, and then you explain why, how, who, what, when. Now I'm like, oh my God, that was incredible. Nobody has ever explained it to me like that. Then we're mapping out the phases. Okay. So here's where most providers collapse. They manage the person's pocketbook. They don't do a treatment plan. They think they can't afford it. They offer one treatment. The minute the patient says, I can't afford it, they start backing down. I mean, you guys, it happens every time. And I love y'all. And I get it. I've studied sales literally my entire career. So you're going to map out the journey, because I don't want short-term correction, right? We want to maximize their outcomes. Okay. So we're going to sequence the treatments. Again, explain what comes first. Outcomes don't happen in one visit, and patients can understand that when we're explaining it. The skincare regimen, this is so important. Retail is not just an add-on, you guys. It's not optional. Up to 80% of patients actually said that they would want to purchase skincare recommended by their medical provider. But almost 68% said they were never even given a recommendation. So this is a lot of opportunity and revenue we're leaving on the table. So just think about this. If you don't prescribe skincare, that means they're going to go someplace else to buy it. Their results are being compromised. Outcomes are going to take longer. Their satisfaction will decrease. Your retention will drop. Skincare is not an add-on. It's part of the protocol, right? The protocol is, oh God, I'm loving this podcast. Every time I write something, I'm like, it just gets me so fired up. And then your follow-up. Okay, we have to have a follow-up cadence. 45% of people said they're never followed up with at all. This is unacceptable. We have to have a plan. So you guys, the treatment plan language is really important. So I want you to stop saying certain things like, well, you could do this. And then if you want, we could do that. Or a lot of our other patients do this. No. This erodes your authority. It erodes the trust, and it signals candidly uncertainty because it shifts the decisions that the patients versus you being an expert provider with authority, and that you understand clearly what they need to, again, get to the best outcome. So based on your goals, Terri, based on the results that you said you wanted, based on how you told me that you feel, the plan I recommend is, or you know what, I'd like to sequence these treatments that are going to get you the best result, and here's why. What did it do? Phase 1, I'm focusing on their outcome, the correction, and building that long-term plan, but longevity. You guys, confidence isn't being pushy. It's not upselling, cross-selling. I hate those words. It's professional. It's your obligation. It's the right thing to do. So we talked a lot about KPIs, mastering the consultation. I am going to highly suggest that you start to go. So as we wrap this episode up, I've given you the sort of high-level, quick version of a mini little sales training, but some very critical things to think about. And I hope very important things that we're not selling treatments. We need to maximize the revenue potential from each patient, which means the proven consultation that builds outcomes, loyalty, retention, revenue per hour, profitability, lifetime value. That's what it's going to do for you. So can you afford not to master this? Can you afford to not go back? I don't care how great your people are. I'm sure they're phenomenal. I love y'all. I work with a lot of you. I know you're phenomenal. But could you be better? Right? Could you be better? And then if you're not hitting the benchmarks, I mean, this is like next level growth. So I want you to go back to my previous episode, pull your conversion rates, pull your average spend per patient, pull your revenue per hour by provider, by service category, by room, pull your retention. Now we have to say, all right, Terri dropped a bunch of valuable information. I got to go pull the data because now I have to see. And then you have to make a plan. Okay, so what is the plan? I want to work with you, I'm inviting you, I'm begging you. Okay, people are literally asking me, Terri, can I just do, I know we have 4S. We did 5 on-sites. I'll be gone for the first 2 weeks in March. I can't be everywhere. So they're like, Terri, can you just like hold a big seminar? And I think I'm going to do that because I'm too passionate. You guys know that I spent time in Fortune 500. And I say that because I led teams for many years and I studied all of those things. I had a med spa in Beverly Hills. We scaled it. We sold it. And none of this is to say, oh, I'm so great. It's not. This is not about that. It's about what I've had to learn. It's about seeing practices suffer. It's about seeing success and what that looks like. It's about seeing people that are like diehards and they are like willing to do whatever it takes because it's not easy. I can come train, but the worst thing that could ever happen is that nothing happens, but that's not what happens. I hold people accountable. I am very passionate on, working with the right people who are ready to execute. So as a CEO of your business, caring about your providers, caring about your patients, this is just the right thing to do. So in 2026, the consult is no longer a one-time thing. It's not a one-time event. It's not a transaction. It is the foundation of your business, patients' outcomes, your retention, and your revenue. So when you lead your business with a clear, phased plan, an approach, a formula, if you invest in training, I really can't stress enough. It's the greatest thing that you can do. Forget the noise about all this other, oh my God, my Allergan rep came in and my BTL rep and that's fine. I hope that they're there to support you as they should. We're coming at it from a different perspective with a different level of training, agnostically looking at your entire business, figuring out where the leaks are and how I can help you maximize your revenue potential, period, so that you're not working harder. So I want you to lead again with a clear phase plan. Patients don't just say yes one time. You want them to stay. So my takeaway for you is please sit with this podcast. Ask yourself, have you invested in training? Audit your consultation process, the patient journey, your conversion rates, your retention rates, all the KPIs that I just broke down. And you guys, I got to hear from you. So if this resonated with you, if you're like, you know what, I'm sick of it. We've been operating at this mediocre level, or we're kicking ass. Maybe you're at multi-millions of dollars, but you want to, 10, 20x a multiple. That should be what you're striving for, by the way. Then you're like, if I've never invested in sales training, can I afford not to? And if your business could grow millions in 1 year, would that be worth it for you? All right, guys, with that said, I love you all. I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me do what I do and be here with you to share my wealth of knowledge and my love with you and some very valuable information. It comes from my heart every day. My daughter's my why. You know that. You're my why. And everything I do is for you. So I love y'all. And if this resonated with you, please reach out to Terri Ross Consulting. Schedule a call with our team. And like I said, always DM me, reach out. I want to hear where you're at and how I can support you. Okay, guys, I will see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terri. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to In Touch with Terri. If you'd like to take your practice further faster, Terri Ross has launched her business and sales mentorship for the first time, and it's available to everyone. No more spending thousands on conferences. Get Terri's expert knowledge for a fraction of the cost. Head over to patreon.com/Terri Ross Consulting and sign up now. We'll have the link in the episode notes to get you in on this groundbreaking offer. This is your chance to get ahead, so don't miss it.